Hello there, and welcome back to the program. On today's show, I've got some film photography from 3 different locations, all shot on Portra 400, all shot on the Canon EOS 50. Our first location is from the suburb of Port Kembla. It's some images from my 3rd day shooting the BlueScope Steelworks down there. Now, as you may remember in the last video, I didn't show these images in that video, basically because none of the images were actually of the BlueScope Steelworks. They were all simply of the suburb of Port Kembla, which sits on the headland. That 3rd day, I'd got up and I'd gone to the suburb hoping for good compositions of the steelworks, but I really could barely find anything. I did find one sort of potential composition. There was a overgrown park at the edge of the suburb that I walked through, and you could just see the steelworks from the edge of the park. As I was lining up the composition, I was trying to get this antenna to sort of misalign with one of the key stacks in the BlueScope Steelworks, and I was sort of moving to the right. I wasn't looking where I was going, and I just kind of fell in a hole, sort of chest high in a stagnant pond, and it was just a bit of a sort of what the fuck moment. It was like nothing bad happened, but it's just really unpleasant. Phone and keys were in my pocket. I managed to keep the camera out of the stagnant pond, luckily, but yeah, it was just, I was like, okay, I think it was time to wrap it up, head back to the Airbnb, have a shower, and sort of call it a day on that little trip. That's also not the stupidest story to happen in this video, so stay tuned for that. But anyway, I'll show you the images of the suburb of Port Kembla now, a suburb from which you can see the ocean. Our second location is a rock formation called the London Bridge, just south of Queanbeyan. Access to the London Bridge rock formation is via a car park, which is just past a gate that shuts at 8 p.m. You might be able to see where this is going. There's no light in the foreground here at all, like on the arch, but there's this sort of beautiful sky behind, beautiful dark clouds. So, possible if I expose for foreground, even though it's dark, it might still look dynamic enough with the sky. Don't think that's going to happen though, so don't think there's anything here in terms of a really good shot, but I'm going to take it anyway. I will expose for the foreground here. I've got a 5-second timer on the EOS 50, so I can drop the shutter speed nice and low, and I don't have to worry about camera shake. Keep the aperture high. And I kind of want something wider, but I only bought my 35 prime, unfortunately, so I can't go any wider than what I am at the moment. But we'll take the shot and see how we go. I'm just going to use my phone to light meter, because That's what I've done kind of all the time I've been shooting film, and never really done me wrong. Okay, what you're not seeing that's in front of me is the clouds have got a lot more interesting, and I've gone for a more front-on view of the arch. Again, there's no light in the foreground, so I'm gonna have to hope that exposing for the shadows, it's not gonna look too flat, but we'll find out. Okay, there's a little bit of grass in the foreground. I want to get that as well. Composition's good. Okay. Focus is right. Drop the exposure a bit. Time is on. Okay, so admittedly what I'm doing now is not actually me taking the photo, it's simply a reenactment of something that I thought was filming, but actually very much was not filming. So there's that. So this is admittedly it's a reenactment that is very, very fast, very quick, sort of after the real thing did happen, but it is a reenactment. So I apologize for if this is misleading. But what I was doing, there was a reflection of the clouds in this. There's a reflection of these clouds in the small lake pond thing behind me, and I couldn't really get a good view of it because of the reeds. So I decided to extend the camera, and then sort of pull one of these. So pre-focus it, preset the settings. Set the timer on, and then extended it out as if it were a large additional appendage, and got the photo. So very frustrating that I didn't film it in real time, because I did have assistance from Nick and it was quite funny, but nevertheless, just imagine me click photo and here are the results. They're probably shit, but hey man, we're out here, you gotta try some things, right? After that somewhat fruitless attempt at that sort of reflection in the pond, I did go over to underneath the arch and try to get like a little long exposure of the water movement under the bridge, and I think this might be my favorite image from this location. Right, story of London Bridge. I mentioned the falling in the hole wasn't going to be the stupidest story in the video. Here's the second stupid story. Listen, driving to London Bridge, it's in some sort of weird state park thing called the Gukong Foreshores, and we drove in. Admittedly, I drove in pretty quickly, and there was a sign that said this closes at 8 p.m, but I chose to ignore that for some reason, because sometimes I'm just a bit of an idiot, and aren't we all? Hoping that it would just be, you know, a kind of whatever thing, you know, sometimes they just put signs up and nothing happens and it's fine. Turns out I was very wrong. We returned to the car, we attempted to drive from the car park, and As to no one's surprise, the gate had locked at 8 p.m. and we were locked in with my car. This was a little frustrating, admittedly, but there was a number on the gate that said, call this number, and you, I don't know, if you're locked in, basically. So we first had to walk for a bit to get some reception, and then try calling the number. It was Access Canberra, and they said, sorry, we don't deal with this issue, call these other people, despite the number being on the gate. Never mind. So, okay, cool, no worries. So we called another set of people, the people that we've been told to call by Access Canberra, and they also said, sorry, we don't know what you're talking about, we have no control over this gate. Starting to get a little concerned. At this point, Nick, the photographer friend I was with, just sort of called the police. And was like, hey, what can you do? So ultimately, no one came to open the gate. The police came and gave us a lift home. They were pretty lovely. They had nothing better to do, so that was cool. But I did have to leave my car there overnight, which did not feel good. So I won't be doing that again. Needless to say, moral of the story, read the fucking sign. Our final location is the dam.
So, I'm here at Scrivener Dam in central Canberra. I find myself more and more at these, taking photos of these large industrial structures. I don't really know why, but I'm just going to sort of follow my nose and see what happens. Two challenges tonight. One, I only have about 5 photos I think left on this roll of film, so my compositions are going to be very limited, so I'm going to have to be, you know, picky. Two, other challenge, I think the light towards the end of the day is going to be quite boring. I have a feeling that the clouds to the west are really going to cover up the sunset, but you never know what might happen, so we'll see how that goes. Anyway, let's go take some photos. Okay, so I'm a little bit of a distance from the dam now, so you might be able to hear what I have to say. It's very difficult getting the scale of the water and the power of the water on camera. It's difficult to bring that feeling across. So I felt I had to get closer, and I think I came up with a composition which was quite nice. I framed a sort of corner of the dam. So the surge of water is spilling out of the center of the frame, and you can't see the edge of the spill of the water. All you can see is the intense flow and not the end of it. And also on the right hand side of the frame there, it's quite these industrial cement blocks that are part of the dam. I'll show the photo now. Honestly, I'm having a hard time finding compositions that I'm happy with. But I really think I want to get above the dam on the bridge and look down directly into the flow of water. I think that could be potentially something very interesting, so I might go and do that next. Anyway. So I had a bit of a predicament up on the bridge. There were two compositions that I did really like up there, but they needed light. And we have light now, but unfortunately it's too late of the day because the light needs to hit the top of the chutes of water in order to give it more depth and texture and interest, I think. And I've just missed that because the dam does sit in a little valley here, and even if the sun's out as it is now, it's not hitting the top of the water directly, unfortunately, just the top of the dam. So I did get some photos. I think they'll be okay. I think the compositions are strong, but I think the light is needed to really sort of make these look the way I think I want them to look. But either way, you know, for next time, come here a bit earlier and I think we'll get something really cool. I don't know if you can hear any of that. I'm basically deaf from standing on top of that bridge for so long near the water, so.
So let's talk about the photographs from the ocean, Port Kembla. I like these images. I think they have nice colors overall. My favorite is definitely the image of the islands framed by the two houses. I do like the framing. I like the streak of orange in the sky and the orange on the house on the left-hand side. And I like the sort of electrical telephone wire. I think that adds something interesting to the frame. The images from London Bridge, I could go with that. I don't find them particularly interesting. I don't think I did a very good job of maximizing this location in terms of just thinking about the composition. I think the strongest image was definitely the one taken under London Bridge with the symmetry of the reflection and the swirling water. But again, I don't think any of these are particularly strong. I do like the photographs from the dam. Obviously, the black and white images you've seen in this video are conversions. I think I like to convert images to black and white if I think the color is distracting because of its lack of interest. Like the colors were simply boring and added nothing, and by taking them away we are left to focus on the composition, which I think is important. These actually turned out pretty much exactly the way I expected, in the sense that they're images that with a bit more light I think would be more interesting, but compositionally, like their foundations are strong. I particularly like the image where we get this sort of 50-50 split of the dam water and sort of no extrusion from the dam on the left hand side. I think it's really cool. And that's everything for today's video. So if you liked it, chuck us a like, chuck us a comment, and subscribe to the channel so I can do this more. Thank you very much.